They asked Lila questions she couldn't answer, because how could she explain the way sound could kill, how silence could breathe, how faith could burn itself alive just to end a song? She signed their forms, nodded at their condolences, and watched them leave with files neatly stamped and sealed. No remains were ever identified as Dr. Elias Mercer. Some said the fire left nothing. Others whispered that something had walked out of it unseen, humming softly, fading into the dawn. The haven's ruins were leveled, replaced by a small colonial warehouse that still, on certain nights, vibrated faintly when the wind passed through. The humming had ended, they said, but Lila knew better. She could still hear it. In her bones, not loud, not constant, just faint, steady, eternal, like a memory that refused to die. In the months that followed the fire, the smoke of the haven lingered like a bruise on the town's horizon, a grey reminder that no one wished to look at for too long. Lila was pulled from the wreckage half-conscious, her lungs charred and her hair gone white at the ends. When she woke, they told her she had been saved by Providence, but even in the hospital's clean white sheets, the humming still followed her. It pulsed faintly beneath her skin, in the spaces between her breaths, in the hollow throb of her skull. At first she thought it was a symptom of trauma, but the rhythm was too deliberate. Steady, mechanical, patient. Every time her heart beat, the hum answered. The officials arrived quickly, dressed in crisp uniforms and carrying polished pens. They smiled softly as they took her statement, nodding with rehearsed sympathy. She told them what she had seen: the children locked below ground, the tubes that sang, the bodies convulsing in time to unseen frequencies. She spoke of Mercer's voice, how it had split in two, one human, one not. She told them of faith, how the girl had lit the fire herself, whispering that the ones below were breathing again. But the more she spoke, the slower the pens moved. The men began to glance at one another. By the end of the interview, their pity had hardened into the kind of smile reserved for lunatics. Weeks later, her testimony disappeared. The files were sealed under the British Crown's Missionary Protection Act, a quiet, bureaucratic tomb. The official story, printed in the Calcutta Gazette, spoke only of a boiler explosion caused by faulty equipment, 43 children dead, the Reverend Mercer presumed among them. There were no mentions of experiments, no mention of the humming, no mention of blood or light, just a statement of regret and a promise to rebuild. Lila's name was listed as a hysterical witness, her mental state unfit for court. They placed her in a sanatorium overlooking the Hooghly River. The walls were pale and damp, the air heavy with medicine and rust. Days blurred together in a cycle of prayer and sedation. Yet every night, when the nurses dimmed the lights, the sound returned, faint at first, like distant machinery turning, then closer, folding into her breath, into the gentle rhythm of her pulse. She began to notice